Hey guys, welcome to the Power Up Project. My name is Jason Tharp. I am a brain cancer survivor. I am a author, illustrator, keynote speaker, jack of all trades. I do all kinds of stuff, but mostly what I'm driven to do is to provide impact and help you through this podcast turn your attention to your intention. And I do that by sharing my story. And if you can relate to this, just give me a visual high five or, high five your steering wheel or whatever you're listening to. Stuff goes sideways sometimes. And I used to spend so much time thinking that if something went sideways, I would veer off into the worst case scenario. And I would allow myself to go there way, way, way too long. I don't do that anymore. Because one day I decided I had enough. And as you're listening to this episode, I've already had what today is for me, which is an MRI. It's a brain scan. I was diagnosed in 2021 with a grade 4 glioblastoma and given the stamp of 7 months to live. And here we are 2 years later, and I'm all clear. Gotcha. My whole life, everybody's told me it was impossible, but yet somehow I chose to believe a different script, and I started following that. And I've leaned into, through this Power Up Project, the fear of all of this, sharing these stories, because for a long time, I didn't think any of these things mattered. I didn't think that people actually cared about what I had to share. And I told myself all the reasons why none of this stuff would matter to anybody else. And boy, was I wrong, because what has happened and transpired since I started to actually figure out that I'm an okay person, that mistakes are okay, and that stuff goes sideways all the time. It allowed me to forgive myself and allowed me to realize that I actually am doing pretty good at being a human, and that my mistakes are normal, and that's really cool. But when something like this MRI stuff happens, an MRI day, at first used to derail me big time because I spent so much time thinking that I was doing something wrong. Every little thing that would happen, I would think, oh my God, it's back, or I would let myself go down this spiral until, again, I got tired of listening to that. And I started asking questions, and I started figuring out, how can I navigate this stuff? And what I would like to share with you today are 3 of my favorite things that have helped me transform what is a really stressful day into something that just feels like every other day, and just happens to be that in an hour, I'm going to be sitting in a tube getting my brain scanned. And then tomorrow, I'm going to find out the results. So by the time you're hearing this, you're going to know exactly what I already know, which is everything's okay. Because I'm a firm believer that if something wasn't okay, I would know. And I have way more to do and way more to say, that I don't think that this is my time. In fact, I'm, oddly enough, don't believe this is what my actual end is going to be. So what are those things that I do that help me? Because I know those of you listening to this right now experience this on occasion. Maybe somebody cut you off on the highway and you hang on to all the things that you would have done, right? Maybe you've been told that your job is getting cut loose, and you're thinking of all the things that you're building the stories of all the ways that you're not going to be able to take care of this and that and all these things. You ever notice how we always take it to the worst case scenario? I was just the exact same way. Nothing special here, right? I'm right in that same boat with you. But I started to figure out that if I talked to myself more and I started to question myself more, and the most important part was if I stopped talking enough to hear myself, answers showed up. And so the first step that really has helped me, and one of my favorite things, is just taking a breath, just taking in the moment, right? And by what I mean by a breath is just to kind of like take a beat, just step back from a second and just become aware of the moment. Like, this is happening. Okay, cool. I have an MRI today. Right on. I also had a meeting earlier today, and also I've been on tech stuff trying to figure out my emails all day. Like, it's just the thing that I'm doing today. Just happens to be the thing. Is there stress attached to it? Sure there is, but I can accept that the fact that I'm going to do stressful things in my day. You're going to have and experience stress in your day too. Rather than trying to spin this into something it's not, I can just accept the fact that sometimes things don't go as we want to be and as we like them to be, and that's okay. That's just part of life. So I can breathe and become aware of that. And it kind of starts to kill that narrative spin out. The second thing I do is I accept everything but expect nothing. I accept the fact that this is part of my story now. These MRIs, I get them every 8 weeks. For the rest of this year, it's every 8 weeks. Come at the end of the year, we're talking about extended out to every 3 months. This is just who I am. I wear this device that you see, and I always have a hat on, and I wear a device on my head because it's just part of my life now. And it's okay. Nobody's life is perfect. And instead of trying to control an outcome, I just accept that this is what it is. I don't go into a bad situation expecting even more bad things. I don't even go into a bad situation expecting good things. I just go into a bad situation understanding that this is just what it is. And most of the time I'm surprised because the old me used to pick the worst case scenario for everything to go sideways. And then I would be shocked when it went good. Shocked so much that I never, ever took a moment to actually relish in the fact that I was wrong. And that's important to understand that you can't control everything, which leads me to the next part, is that you have to let go. You have to stop expecting what you have continued to do every single day to be the way out of the situation that you're in. If you've gone through or going through something that you don't enjoy right now and you have not changed your perspective of it, what makes you think that anything is going to change out of that? If you continue down this path of thinking that all that happens to you is bad stuff, and of course I'm always stuck in traffic, and of course I'm going to lose my job, and of course this bad thing is going to happen, or whatever, just you know exactly what I'm telling you, because if you can relate to that, you are what I was like. And in that process, what you're doing is you're shocked that it continues to happen. And just like me, I was shocked that it continued to happen. What can I do to get a break? So for me, it's legit what started it. As I became aware of the situation, I took a breath. I accepted it for what it is without an expected outcome other than I'm going to be the best me that I can be in this scenario. And I want to make sure I'm surrounded with the best possible people that understand that when you're with me, you need to be present in the moment, because on this train, we're going to break impossible. We're going to do all the stuff that everybody else said that we couldn't do. We're going to be the team that does it, that's going to make other people realize, and it's going to draw in the people that we are looking to help. And then I stopped controlling the outcome. I stopped trying to make a prediction of my future based off of information of the past. And I just started being present in the moment, showing up each moment to do exactly kind of what I'm doing here. There's no script here. I don't have a plan. As you see, the table is blank. I'm just talking to you like I would like somebody to talk to me, to be real and honest. So my routine when I go to the MRI is much like how you could approach anything in your life. As I'm driving there, I'm feeling it all. I'm letting myself, for the first time today, go through all the experiences of, man, I'm going to be nervous. This sucks. I hope everything's okay. I know everything's okay. I let that whole back and forth volley thing happen all the way through until I walk through the door. And then it changes. It changes over to the fact that I know that I have done everything I possibly can. I've spent time visualizing. I've spent time putting good stuff. I worked out. I'm eating right. I'm doing all the stuff. And I'm showing up with this scenario not to expect a positive outcome. I know it's going to be a positive outcome because I've checked all the boxes. I'm here. I'm present. Then I get put on the table. I go through. I get an IV. You have to go down to the old the hospital gown, all that stuff like that. I have a message that I send to my wife every time, and then you go back to the tunnel and it's cold, and you're trying to have a conversation with the MRI tech, and it's awkward because you can tell that they feel awkward because they know exactly what they're doing for me, and they're wishing for the same stuff. They just want a good outcome, And then I get the IV gets in, and then the nerves set in then a little bit because there's no backing out, right? And you're looking at the MRI as this is confirmation of everything, but you can't help but still go there. The nerves kick in and also like that. And then you lay on the table. IV gets connected to what is contrast, which flows through my body, and that's what would show up if there was something in there, which I'm happy to report. All that's in there right now is just the brain. And when you get like kind of strapped in, they put like a face shield over me. So I'm literally like strapped to the table where I can't move. And you get pushed back into the thing. And I always have a routine where I thank the MRI tech. I think for me, it's just that one more spot of gratitude for being here. And I thank them for their time. And somewhere along the line, somebody put on with masking tape on the top of it, it says like, "You got this." And those like little words have meant so much every time I go to experience this moment, because it's almost like my check-in point. It's letting me know that this moment is all I can control right now, that this is my reality and it's okay. But I'm so grateful for all the past stuff that has brought me to this point. And I'm not afraid of who I used to be. Instead, I've kind of forgiven that person and realized that they're all in the room with me right now too. All those versions that were all the stuff I didn't like about myself, they haven't gone anywhere. They're just in this room with me. And then I meditate on that. And I think about all that stuff. And I'm grateful for the fact that like I've got to open my eyes today. I've got to experience the world, that I've gotten to do my part to hopefully make it a better place. You know, most of my goals each day is to try to leave more joy in the world than I took. To be the one that made the difference today, instead of be the one that is the one that you're mad at because you got cut off on a highway because I made a mistake and I wasn't paying attention or whatever it could be. Because the truth is we really don't know the other side of the story, right? And that's what I do. And that's how I function. And this is how I start to break impossibles. And that's just 3 of the many, many things I do. But hopefully out of those 3, something in that resonates with you that you can kind of take and apply to your life, because there's probably something that you're struggling with right now that you feel that you can't find an end game to figure out how you can move forward. I just want you to know that you're normal more than anything, and that you're doing a really good job at being human, even when it feels like you're not. We all know struggle. We all know what it's like to want everything to be perfect. There's just no such thing as that. And what you have to do is get better at practicing. Practice who you are. Practice your truths. Stand up to your truths. Breathe. Accept and expect nothing. Accept that you could be wrong. And then just control what you can control. And I think if you learn how to adopt that, those things that seem crazy impossible to you right now, slowly over time, the impossibility starts to shrink down. And then eventually what's going to happen is a little spark of possibility shows up. And what you're doing is you're preparing yourself for those moments, because those moments are what you do to provide yourself with the power up to take your intention and turn it into your intention. And then you conquer all those things that everybody's told you that you're not going to be able to do. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope that that really resonated with you, and I hope that it provided you with power up.
Foxland Media. Think big.